Welcome to this presentation about sharing your ideas and making them better. My name is Jesper, and in one of my roles, I'm the team lead for GID Exchange under GCentral. We believe in the GID Exchange that sharing your idea will gain a bit of momentum and perhaps get you some help along the way. And this presentation is intended to help out with that part and try to explain some of the underlying things that we have about ideas. In tradition, I've chosen one from our Giants of Female, and in this case, I have chosen Judith Love Cohen. She's an American aerospace engineer. She was born in 1933, and she worked on the guidance system for the Minuteman missile, as well as the Atlas Able satellite and the abort guidance system for the Apollo lunar modules. After her engineering career, she started a publishing company with her third husband, and it focused on you can be a woman, or publishing book series about you can be a woman engineer, woman soccer player, woman movie maker, as one of the hit series. And the other one was A Clean Planet, A Clean City, all focusing on cleaning up the planet. Furthermore, she's the mother of the actor Jack Black, so she has seriously contributed to a lot of good stuff. But let's get back to the part about ideas. So basically, an idea starts with the sentence, "Wouldn't it be cool if?" And that's sort of the creation of an idea. It's the first spark of creation. It's what happens to you when you're in the shower and you least expect it. You get to think about, oh, it would be cool if I could finish the sentence. And that's sort of what happens when your mind relaxes. It's when it starts wandering into another direction when you least expect it. And this is sort of the point where there's nothing preventing you from actually doing the idea. So the next stage is sort of the scoping of idea. This is where we get into specifics. This is where when is the deadline for this idea to be implemented? It could be something that's necessary to be done within a certain amount of time, because otherwise it would be irrelevant. How much of it should be implemented in the first version? That's another part that needs to be covered. And then you sort of begin to design the resulting product. You're not writing code sort of yet, or you shouldn't be, but you're trying to limit the boundaries of the idea. And this is sort of the place where you can include multiple developers, because starting to bounce off your ideas of other people and telling them about it and trying to get some quick feedback here would probably steer you in the right direction. For a good example is the number of iPhones that were tested by children in order to see how they would react to the actual device, and coming up with another set of ideas. So basically getting into a greater more and more aligned idea. And then it's sort of, once you've done the scoping, there's a difference between scoping and development, because in scoping you don't really do any development, but in development you sort of have to do some scoping. So there's some differences here, but also some similarities. And one of the things is to implement the scope during the development cycle, but also the deployment to the users. This is sort of where you get some early feedback. This is where Marcus Nudge Pearson sold alpha versions of his Minecraft project before it actually went completely viral and became $1 billion idea. This is also where feedback is most important. This is where if stuff breaks, then you update it so you can fix it and move it in the next iteration. And this is sort of improving the idea through the development cycle. Moving on to the last part of an idea, and that's sort of where the maintenance and the end of life. The idea is at some point going to stop working, either because it only ran on Windows XP and there are only 7 devices left, or it was running on, it was no longer developed because the developer could not maintain it anymore. Unfortunately, the developer died, so he had to hand it over to somebody else. And this is sort of the things that the GID Exchange is about. This is why, first of all, we created the GID Exchange, but also we want to encourage the development of tools and facilitate discussions around ideas. We want to have a lot of feedback early in the process about an idea. Otherwise, the idea would be probably steered in a direction that had already been implemented. It could be. And we've sort of tried to create an NI forum where we have 4 different categories. And in our NI forum, the first category is the new idea. This is where we have the initial discussions and formalization, the scoping part. We've sort of come across the wouldn't it be cool if we had parts. All of these parts of the idea is sort of being handled as long as it's a new idea. Then we have the development started category. And this is when there exists a repo, when there's at least one developer engaged with the project. There's a new feature request that's posted on, or all new feature requests can now be posted on the repo itself, because now there's actually some substantial code that is exists, and therefore all the sort of discussion should be handled as part of the code development. And of course, we still encourage discussions on the project, but we encourage to move them towards the project pages or the project GitHub repo. Then there's the release part. That's sort of the place between development. In development starter, we didn't have any release, but in the release, we have a formal released version of a tool or a repository. So now it's sort of a solution that can be deployed to customers. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But the thing is, you can go to somewhere to download something that's the content of this idea. And last but not least, we have the category that is looking for maintainers. And this is when, at some point, as mentioned, if the developer stops maintaining a project, this would be the place to share that, hey, I'm looking for somebody else to take over this project. We cannot sustain it anymore, or we don't want to do it. If so, drop a message in here. And then the question is, what can we do for your idea? We can facilitate conversation around the idea. We can ask questions, try to get some better scoping on unclear parts. We can, as mentioned, find new maintainers for a project that already exists. And we can provide you a presentation ground for your idea. And this is part of our LabVIEW in the NI forums. And sorry for the part here that looks like I'm running this in black and white. It's because my chroma filter is covering all of the green color. So I'm green screening out of this. Anyways, if we look at the GID Exchange, there's some guidelines on how to do it. And then we have some of the posts. And one of the posts is this from Eric Sleeper, which is the proper attribution of deployed open source toolkits, which is a tool to gather information about the licensing dependencies on the project. And you can go there and have a further look. I put the link in the chat. Additionally, there's Wiebes project about search. It's sort of his own project, but this is where a presentation of it is used as a presentation ground for an idea. Wiebe did already a presentation at GDevCon 4, so definitely go and watch that one. It's really cool what he's doing with searching. Then we have Anton, who you saw this morning, present about mocks, has talked about presented an idea about refactoring suite for LabVIEW. I reached out to Anton, and the message here was that he's just not started on it yet. So there's plenty of room for inputs on this one as well. And if you feel like it's something you would like to be part of, then definitely mention it here. Then we have Neil, who submitted a possibility to run a hotkey. And it could be one of the ideas that already was existing somewhere. Michael, you mentioned the part about the idea, how we can influence the IDE itself, LabVIEW. The tooling part, as long as it can be, or the idea, if it can be implemented without creating new LabVIEW primitives, so it can be implemented in G code, it should be possible to implement it as tooling that we can install through VIPM. And that way, we can do that as an idea. But we can't create new primitives. We don't have any special powers in that regard. But as long as it can be implemented in standard G code, then it's not a problem to implement it in as an idea. The thing is, we are not going to be the implementers of the idea. We are just facilitating that somebody can present their idea and try to give an input on what's probably missing, or if it's been done elsewhere. Probably no reason to make a fifth unit test system if we already have Karaya and LUnit and the LabVIEW unit test and the VI tester, and then probably something I forgot. Make sense? Awesome. Last, there's this enhanced dialogue from Thomas Robertson. It was one of the early ideas we had when we started this. And last but not least, Sam has proposed a quick VI analyzer with as an idea to run it as a commit hook for commit and push. And last but not least, there's a implementation to Bowser. This might actually already be implemented, but I have to follow up with KSME on that one. And that brings me to the end. I'm almost out of time. So the G-Idea Exchange team is Casey May, Eric Sleeper, and Eric Stack, and myself. And we meet every second Monday at 8 p.m. UTC and talk about all of this and try to facilitate new ways of spreading ideas. Guess that's it. Any questions? Thank you very much for participating. It's always an honor to present here. So that's it for me. If you have any other questions or you think it's some other parts, just reach me out directly.